And a bong, we're live. It's the Kent Beck Scrum on a Tuesday. I have been in London meeting the Elemental folks, the NHS folks, NHS Public Champions. Yeah, have received lots of information about the NHS Wiki projects. So much so that I think I mistakenly thought that we had the NHS Wiki meeting today. We don't. We have it tomorrow. Yeah, I guess the key block that is niggling me is that Mariam has got the NHS Wiki, Media Wiki kind of initial thing working in Doku, and it's deployed, but it doesn't seem to be well. Looks like it's all the telemetry tells us that it's working on the server, but when we go to the place on the server, it kind of reports an error, and anyway, so we're sort of stuck on that. I get it fixed. Plans, there are just so many things that would be nice to do. I'm confused about what they are. They all seem to be admin things. Yeah, I'm just confused really, but we'll leave it there. I think Praveen was in first. Praveen, how are things going with you?
All good, Sam. So Matt and we were working on parent outs, adding Hound and replacing Wallaby.
Cool.
So yeah, the test cases were passing on local, but on Circle CI, and like we banged our head against the wall, but couldn't able to pass the Circle CI build.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of blocked there. It's not working in the way that you'd like. Yes. And I guess it's all about needing Phantom.js to run kind of in the background for Hound on Circle CI. And okay.
So we ran the Phantom.js in the background, but still the tests were failing. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we can have a look at that at the end of the Scrum. Yeah. Anything else on your mind?
Sorry.
Anything else on your mind?
No, that's it. That was the only blocker.
All right. Yeah. We'll look at that in Scrum. Matt, anything? Thanks, Praveen. Matt, anything to add? Anything on your mind?
Yeah, I participated in the Rails 5 TDD mob today, which was really nice. And then had a cup of coffee and doing a pairing with Praveen, which is really nice. I already said that I got Slack app added, so that's awesome. Yeah. And yeah, just to add quickly to that about that block is, it seems like the Phantom.js is running and it's just unable to find the IDs that we're looking for, although it is in the local test. And we've kind of been going through the troubleshooting guide and trying to find out exactly why. But then one of the things that it suggests that we do is to draw SSH access to debug while the build is happening. But I don't know if we don't have permissions to do that, or but it's not showing up as an option for us. So
okay, interesting. Yeah. Anything else on your agenda? Like any other blocks, any other plans?
Me? No. I mean, I'm gonna be hopefully pairing with Faith later, and gonna be doing some stuff. So we're gonna pair on the agile development, the Berkeley X course, and do some of the homework. I'm gonna redo some of it as well, and yeah,
great,
just that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Thanks, Matt. And Michael is here as well. Hey, Michael, how are things going with you?
Good. So I fixed the bug, I believe, in the automated premium model, and I had it send new predictions to the channel, which are slightly different. I think there were actually 3 people. Faith, too, had apparently been signed up for some tier. Miriam, and then Matt.
Right.
Are now not in there.
Yep. Excellent. Oh, thanks so much for rerunning that. That's very helpful.
And how did you guys deploy Doku? Was it through the Azure template?
So we followed the instructions in there's what's it even called? Like King something media, King Square Media Wiki docu is what we did, and that, which is this one, and this basically has like a series of steps that one should do to get working with this specific Docker file, which is specifically MediaWiki and some other bits and pieces.
Right, but how did you get Doku set up in Azure?
That was one of the previous ones that we had. You know, we had like the. All right, when you say Azure, like we have Doku set up from before.
Oh, so I'm not familiar with how you get Doku and Azure, like how the host naming works with them. Because I know when you set up through the Azure template, you just and the box has a certain address.
Yeah, yeah, and we've got
something.
Yeah, so we've. I mean, the thing that we've got on this particular Doku setup that we've got for the NH, which has now been put in a zone called like NHS zone. It's got like a Doku NHS on the front of it, and it's basically working. Like if we go there, we see this, and like so we've got like a MediaWiki instance. So this is one that we did with just a Docker file that just has MediaWiki in it and nothing else. And so this is like where it's not set up and connected to the database. So this is like the, you know, we went through the template and you know, we set up. So that's the name and it's there. When we deploy the one following this recipe, so to speak, it tells us that we should then be able to see it like at this point here, right? Like it does a MediaWiki, but that doesn't, you know, it just does this as like no, not at all. You know, for other things like we've got async voder, we've got MetPlus, we've got I've got various DNS zones set up pointing to different Azure boxes that all kind of work. And so I followed the same sort of recipe to set up a you know, an HLP wiki.agileventures.org under which, you know, various things could live while they, you know, get played around with. And having set up like that, that goes to here and it gets to this, which I'm not sure why. And when I go to the logs for that particular app that I think this is pointing to don't have anything particularly significant in them. So it's there's probably some small error that I've made somewhere in the setup for the DNS naming thing, or it's something else. But yeah, it's yeah. We could, if you have a moment, we could end up looking at that in more detail. Anyway, that's the detail of this block. We're kind of coming up to I think that's the end of this Scrum because we've all reported our things. The thing that Praveen and Matt are blocked by is, so yeah, we've got this is the pull request here on Paranauts, and so these are the issues that you're experiencing here. There's no element found for ID weight or meat or what have you. Yeah, and so all these tests with Hound, as you say, were passing locally and just they're failing on CI at the moment.
Yeah, and it's also in the test there. It's also there's a find element for mob, for example, and it's finding that element. So it's not that it's not finding any elements. It's just these particular ones it's not finding.
These I might be imagining it. These look like the same ones that are failing for the gosh, what's it called? The Wallaby tests as well. I don't know if they're exactly the same, but it's these tests where we're trying to simulate two different users coming in and do stuff. Although this one that's to do with mob. It might be interesting to compare these failures with those failures. Oh, Lara just said hello, Lara.
Hey, Lara.
I don't know if you can hear us, Lara. I think you're muted at the moment, Lara. Hello.
Hello, surprise.
Hello. Good to see you.
Hi. Good. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to mute myself. I'm on the train.
Oh, okay. Good to have you with us. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, and the tests, but the again, these tests are it's finding it when we look
when you're running it locally.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the the fact that it's getting this sort of error, and some of the other ones, some of them are passing, some of them are failing. Makes it look like, you know, the circle CI configuration, which you've presumably changed here to like add setting up the installing Phantom.js and then running that in the background. That all seems superficially that's all working, because, you know, I'm not getting errors saying can't find the WebDriver thing or what have you. So yeah, gosh, acceptance tests and headless acceptance tests in CI is like lies, damn lies, and international politics, isn't it, or something? There's a is that the boulder that we're pushing up the burning hillside? Do you know what I mean? Like that's the sort of So we're in the after Scrum, so we could I guess if anybody has any thoughts about exciting ways to try and address this error, or exciting ways to address our this error, we're all ears. Otherwise, I guess we wrap up the Scrum and try and, you know, address these things in individual pairing sessions or mobs or just via Slack. I guess I'll take that as a good time to end the. Oh gosh, is my computer dying or something? I don't know. Just one of my screens has gone off. Sorry. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Miriam.
Oh gosh, what's happening? Hello. Like one of my monitors has disappeared, and now I can't see anybody. Hello. What's happened here? Okay. Well, I'll try and plug this monitor back in. I have no idea if any of you can hear me or not.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Matt. Yeah.
This error, your error. I mean, it's kind of a generic, right? I've gotten this error before on Heroku when I didn't run the migration, but
right. Yeah, I mean, I can show you what the at least I can show you what the logs are showing for this one, which is it's here. So this is, I mean, like, in order to deploy this MediaWiki instance to Doku, we've got. Oh, wait a sec. Is my screen share still working? It looks like it's frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen for me.
I think I will turn it off and turn it back on again, because that's the universal thing for fixing things in the IT world, of course. So, older, so we're pushing up the burning hillside. No, and Mariam's here. Hey, Mariam. Hello. Hi. Good to see you. We're just in the after Scrum where we're sort of kicking blocks around. I guess. Did you have anything that you wanted to report?
No, nothing in particular.
Ways to try and address this error. Are you perhaps playing the YouTube stream of me in the background, Mariam? There was a. Anyway, yeah. So we were just looking at this one. So we've got here this, Doku setup, pointing again to this. You know, Michael was asking about how, what was the, the thing here. That's the NHS Doku. So from here, if I just do grep logs there, I can go and get the logs for this particular instance of the MediaWiki we've just pushed up. And so here, I mean, we do have these notices from Apache about the server name directive globally. It is like, could not reliably determine the server's fully qualified domain name. So I guess we could be setting those things, but I sort of restarted the server. This general, there's not a obvious kind of error message that seems to correspond to this. Well, I'm sorry, Michael. I'm not sure that this is this is necessarily hitting that thing. Go on, Michael.
What if you put in that IP address?
Posted
in there.
Is there an IP address there?
Yes, it says using 172.17.0.5. says it right down the left.
Down on the left.
Yeah, on the left
Oh,
below.
okay. That doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah, it certainly seems like, I guess in the absence of anything else, these things which look like warning messages, it's, you know, at a first pass, should maybe just try to fix those up and see if that helps. This looks to me, I mean, the overall error message kind of looks like it's a kind of a generic Azure message rather than a MediaWiki fail. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, it does seem like a Azure message.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting. I wasn't even sure that we had deployed Apache. I guess that's part of the MediaWiki thing. So that's something to try. I guess jumping back to the other problem, I guess, can we look at in the previous pull requests, do we have a record for the failures that we would get, or will Circle CI tell us about, like, because I think we have the main build, which is still running the tests with Wallaby. Can we find that? There, that's master, I guess. Can we see? So I mean, again, we've got three failures. Here it's saying couldn't find visible element that matched the CSS weight, but 0 elements were found. In contrast to no element ID found for weight. So that seems like it might be the same sort of issue. Just but different error message. The differences in the error messages might be to do with just the way that Hound and Wallaby present the error messages. What's it? Meet and wait, and then
in Cucumber we had something like wait for the page to load or something like that. In Cucumber, in Rails, I've seen something like this. Like after clicking this, wait for the page to be reloaded or something like that.
Yeah. Yes, I think I know what you mean. I mean, we've got this general issue with headless tests that sometimes it can be things like it's the size of the window. Like if the window is too small and the thing like renders off and it can't then click on it. I also suspect that there's sometimes it's like a timing issue, that somehow it's sort of waiting on stuff, and it's particularly tricky to.
Well, one of the things we tried to debug it is that you can change the amount of, they have a default of 5 tries, and we tried to put that 20 retries, and it still was unable to find this.
That SSH connection thing. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not a good time to bring this up, but I was just wondering if because Hound, one of the things we were talking about switching to Hounds is that it actually has support for other headless testers.
Oh, right, yeah, alternative to Phantom.js, yes.
Yeah, or if we could try it with something else to see if that actually makes a difference, because I think one of the reasons why, is because there's some Phantom.js, I don't know, inconsistencies with, I don't know, I don't remember the right way to phrase it, but
yeah, don't worry. I think absolutely. That would be, that's a great idea. Definitely try it with a couple of other alternatives, and it might be that it just works with them, and the problem is Phantom.js under the hood, and that seems like that would be a relatively quick check, so to speak, and certainly worth doing. I was just thinking that you'd mentioned this SSH access to the builds. And that you didn't have access, and I was just thinking about, is there a way that I can enable you to have access to it? And Did you do we know where in the Circle CI place that you might find the thing? I guess let's look at team. I guess I guess we set up Circle CI by just doing the kind of GitHub plugin to it. And it says I can invite teammates. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Log in. These are all the users that
you don't have any teammates.
No, apparently not. Was actually playing Star Trek Bridge Crew, and I log in. I think it's the Ubisoft thing, and the big thing on the left says "No friends." And it's like, well, you don't have to rub it in. I like Star Trek. Okay, it's like I know that. Tease me about it. Anyway, yeah, I don't. There's these it's like connected user settings support. Anyway, I was hoping that I would find a quick thing here that would allow me to give you the appropriate access to do the SSH thing, but I'm not seeing anything immediately. It says like I'm connected. Yeah, connected to Tansaku. I don't know if we have to add it via a team and so on. So if you can find any documentation about how one adds people to Circle CI to give them permission for SSH, I'll be happy to follow that through.
So,
go on, Michael.
To go back to the issue with the wiki.
Yeah.
What resource group is this in? Because I'm looking, and there's a lot of different NHS stuff.
Yeah, this is in the. It's in the NHS group. I think there's a resource. Group for NHS. I'm just loading the view over there.
It's called. They're in the East US.
Right. Yeah, everything's in the East US.
And then, there's a DNS.
Yeah, so there's a DNS group there that I've created, following the pattern of some of the other things.
So it just says develop.
Yeah, at the moment. So that's go on.
And the address in there is different. So what the hell?
Yeah, so this is this is hlpwiki.agileventures.org.
And if you click it, there's develop, and it has a different name somewhat.
Yeah, so what the develop, so what with this hlp.agileventures.org DNS zone, and what I've got similarly with other ones is that the agileventures.org now says, okay, it's pointing to this name server, and it's saying to agileventures.org is saying, okay, our subdomain of HLP wiki will be managed by these guys, and we've done that successfully for async voter and other things.
So if you copy the value that you're pointing to,
this one,
I think it's not in theory, right? If everything were working, you'd be able to go there through that too, right?
Well, we can't. Now, this is the thing: is this one, it does work, but it's pointing by default, I think, to the first. It's pointing to this. We've got. If we go and
why don't we use the subdomain for the same one?
Say that I'm not sure what you mean, ma'am. Hold on while I just point out so we've got on this NHS Docker East Cloud at Azure, we've got HLP Wiki Develop and Media Wiki. So this is when we go here and we're seeing this is what we saw when we first deployed this, right? And so then I created a second app there, and then Mariam deployed the King Square Docker file to that one. But usually what the way it works is if you assign, like the way I've got it working for a lot of things, if you assign a particular domain, so we've used Doku to say, okay, this MediaWiki one should, you know, like incoming requests to this domain map to you. And in other cases, that's been enough for this then to all hook up, if that makes any sense.
So what if you copy that MediaWiki.nhs.doku?
This is the one that I showed earlier.
That
If you do that one, it just says nothing.
I mean, we can modify the a record to link the DNS zone with the IP address.
Right. So you mean add some a record in here?
Yes. I don't know where exactly it should be,
well,
but
we can add like record sets to here. I mean, we can put in a thing like here, or let's say like test there, and then map it directly to the IP address.
And also specify the port.
So I notice you only have like one entry.
Yeah.
Is that how it should be? Like, how does it know the subdomains?
Well, oh gosh, is it now created? It's oh gosh. Well, if you look at some of the other DNS zones, you can see how it's set up. It's so annoying. Can I open this in a new tab? No, it goes back and I lose it. That's annoying. But so, for example, we've got the Met Plus agileventures.org. That one is not, I guess, not such a good example. But so you can see here. Actually, no, it is a good example because it is also using Doku. So you can see here that this one, we've got the series of different subdomain names that all sit under metplus.agileventures.org are all pointing to Agile Ventures East US. So this is the like original Doku thing that we set up that is here, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is there's only one name in that record for the zone that you're trying to set up. There's only a develop.
Right. Because yeah, I mean, in future we could create more, but I don't think there's any requirement that you have.
Can you go back to the terminal? Let me just see.
Yep.
Okay. And you're saying that will be. So the idea is that when develop.hlp wiki.agileventures comes in, it will know to translate it to NHS Doku, East US Cloud App, and then MediaWiki.
Yeah, or I mean, like, the interesting thing here is that this one, I don't think we set it up. It automatically did this. And when we do the deploy, it says your app now available there. In the past, we've had things like when we've done deploys, it says your app available on, you know, the canonical name and then colon and a port number. And we have had access like that.
It's interesting that the other vhost app vhost is like totally different.
Yeah, it's done something kind of like, I think that's like this seems like automatically generated thing. Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
I don't know if this goes to anything, but the that's got HLP wiki. Yeah. Weird. That one. You made it. But I mean, I guess the sensible comparison. Yeah. Oh dear. I just want to click on there. Let's go to Met Plus there. If we look at Met Plus and we kind of go into here with we do here like get remote -v, and we take this one and say domains report there. So this has in fact got all of the, so we can like lots and lots of things here. Interestingly, none of them have got.
They'll have domain global enabled false. That's one thing that's different.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the other thing I have had problems with when there's been more than. There was one thing that there was a problem where there was more than one domain associated. That was specifically with Let's Encrypt getting the HTTPS working. Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, I don't know how interested you are in this, Praveen and Matt. If you wanted to carry on doing pairing and trying out like alternatives to PhantomJS, that would be totally cool. But don't please stay if you're interested in us continuing to debug this one. What do you think?
I mean, I'm interested in both, but I'm actually gonna probably go have a bite to eat because I haven't eaten today, and then I'm Praveen if you wanna pair later. I don't know.
I'm currently running the build with SSH, so if I get stuck, I could just ask Sam as he's here. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And when I'm done, I can hit you up on Slack, and if you're still doing stuff, then cool.
Sure.
Not that this isn't interesting, but
no, eating is good. I recommend it. highly. I mean, the right kind of food, obviously, but yeah. Well, I guess what I'm immediately tempted to do here, if I can, with the domain thing, is, as you point out, Michael, it was the global enabled has global domain names. We've got global vhosts. So this has got. Okay. Why is that not going back to the other thing? Oh, ridiculous. Oh, no. Set domains for app, set global domains, report, remove global. There's disable and enable vhost. Doesn't seem like there's a. I guess I'm tempted to just try as an initial stab is, so for the MediaWiki app is to remove this domain.
I mean,
go on, Mariam.
Just I don't know why it's necessary to remove it.
I don't know either. I just know that I managed to solve some problems with these sorts of things in the past by removing that, and you know, so it's sort of worth a try in the absence of other concrete ideas. It's not obvious to me there. We've got a clear enable, disable vhost. Michael was pointing out there's this global enabled. It's not immediately obvious to me how we would disable that, but I guess if we remove the global name, then it might have an impact. Yeah, it's one of these things with this DNS stuff that anyway. I'm not optimistic that this would work, but no. Something went wrong. What? And I'm not.
What if you tried the IP address of the server?
The IP of the address of the server. When you say
the one linked to this domain you are trying to access.
So when you say the IP, like, so you mean the IP address of, we've got this one that's like NHS.
No, the one
we had. What we certainly could do, yeah, is, well, at least we do NS look up. Oh gosh. on both of these things and see where it's going. Yeah.
Or ping is ping there.
Yeah, we could see like where it thinks this is going.
If it's not, then it's just a DNS problem. Or, I mean, if it's working. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean see, yeah. So this seems to be saying they're redirecting to the same place. They're going to this. It's the same. It's that server. So it seems like the DNS redirection is working. In other systems, like the Met Plus one, that redirection seems to be sufficient to, for example, I mean this, like we've got here, we can hit these. I mean, we've got so many of these. They're
so if you go,
if you disable
the vhost global one, yes. Oh, I think I'll definitely do that next, Michael. Sorry, Mariam, what were you going to say?
I mean, like we can try to go directly using the IP address.
Yeah,
and see if the application is running or not.
Right. But I think, see, if we go there, I think we're getting to that kind of default system that's running there, right? Which is the one that we'd installed previously, and not the one via King Square.
So it's working. It's just like the link between the name and the IP address.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when that says that's going wrong, I think that, so like, this thing maps directly to that. It almost seems like it must be failing at this point. Where has it gone? Let's go back to the domains report. Like, it's like that error message that we're getting is that it's picking up on this and it's trying to connect through to MediaWiki, and something's going wrong at that point. I guess to do with Doku. Maybe that's a Doku error message. I don't know if there are separate Doku logs that are separate from the app logs, but it certainly seems like it's worth trying, like removing this global vhost. Domains, remove global domain names. That's interesting. Well, I guess remove global. Now, interestingly, we don't do that for any particular app. We just remove it globally. So apparently we remove that. Domains report now tells us, okay, that that's now false. Okay. And we can go HLP. I've got too many of these. It was develop.hpwiki, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Develop.hpwiki. .agileVentures.org.
Yep.
And that's, we're sorry about something wrong. I guess I could restart the app for good measure. Which I did a little ago, and then it's actually going to take. So yeah, we've certainly got this. This is all now looking a lot more like the Met Plus setup, isn't it? Where domains global is not enabled.
Yes, but how is this particular Azure box acquisitioned? This was already set up, or
this Azure box was done via the template, which is sort of how I assume that all of them have been done. Although I don't have concrete. I think all of the Doku instances on Azure Ubuntu boxes that you and I have set up, Michael, have all gone through the template.
Yeah. Did Zhao do that?
No, Zhao didn't do this one. That was a Resh originally, and he might have used a template. He might not have done. No. So that's, I guess I
mean, we've done this before with the async voter, right?
Right. But that's also, I mean, it's possible that all of the ones that we've got with the DNS working are all ones that are sitting in this, like, see, we get here, like the React, the async voter, charity API, the greeter bot things there, all this kind of Paranauts. These are all deployed on this one box that Aresh originally deployed.
And we have no idea how he set it up.
No, he kind of did that and said, "Oh, look, here it is," and we were like, "Yay, let's use it." I mean, conceivably he used the template, but I mean, it may have been the previous template a longer time ago.
Did it work instantly, or?
Sorry, say again, Mariam.
I mean, you didn't have to wait for the DNS to propagate the domain name.
I don't think we have to. It might be that we might do. I don't think we have to wait for a DNS update here, in as much as as you pointed out when we were sort of doing the NS. Oh no, wrong place. Is that the NS lookup is showing us that develop hlpwiki.advantage.org is redirecting to this box.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems sensible. I mean, we've kind of now we've removed that global name. I don't know what that. So the changes that we're now making are kind of in the Doku load balancer, as it were, and the way that. So it's sort of. It seems like the DNS changes that we want are kind of there. I mean, the interesting thing, I guess, now is what happens to NHS like there. Even though we've removed that from Doku, this is
cached.
Yeah, it could easily be cached. But this is still. I mean, I think Doku doesn't have to know about the presence of this URL for this URL to work, because this is something that Azure itself has put out there, and then Doku is kind of sitting behind that, right? I mean, I guess we could take another look at the logs. Again, we come back to that. There happens to be this thing about Apache. I mean, that seems. I mean, I guess it's conceivable that error message is an Apache error message. You know, go on.
Can you just maybe this is crazy? Can we deploy like a different Doku app, something trivial that's like a web, just like a landing page, and see if it's working? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That's a good idea.
Box.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, have you got access to this one? Do you want to go ahead and do? I was just going to. I think that's a good idea. I was just going to. Oh gosh, is it Ubuntu? I was just going to like connect to the box and just see, is there a way to get. There's logs for the application. I just wondered, is there like a. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's logs for the individual applications. Maybe there's like a general front end logging. Oh, like there's an events. That's interesting. Oh, there are no events apparently. List the processes, run, storage, tag, star, trace. Enable Docker tracing. Bots. Oh. guess that trace is not really helping us. I can see there's interesting. Oh, look, there's interesting things going on there. I guess that has. Yeah, I think you're. I guess I'll just turn the trace off. Yeah, what would be a trivial little web app to deploy that we have to hand? Doesn't take any. That would sort of be trivial. I wonder if we've got. I mean, I guess we could quickly deploy the React thing there.
Sure.
So, have I got the that's the represent front end? So I could do git remote add. So this would then be docu test. Call that, and then we would want that to, let's Control D out of there, and so we would want this to be going to this point here, and I want to, I guess I call this React test. So here we do docu, and we could do apps create React test, like so, and then add that, and then I git push. I've got.
I think at the end we have got about the name server. We should set the name server because like the IP address is shared between many domains. So the only way to know which website to serve is by using the name server.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
because when you saw the Apache logs, there was an error about the name server.
I think this is a very sensible thing to do. I'm not immediate, like the server name directive would usually be something that we had that we were setting in the config for Apache. I agree with you. It's certainly worth doing this. I'm not immediately sure how to do this. Like like I feel like that would need to be something that we put in the Docker file, or like we're deploying this MediaWiki thing, and I guess the MediaWiki thing is then pulling in Apache as well, right? But then how do we control the settings for the Apache? Presumably not through the config, right?
Well, I'm not sure.
Like it's not like we could set the environment variable server name to be equal to what have you, but I don't think that. I mean, that might be worth a try. I don't think Apache pulls in when it says set the server name directive globally to suppress this message, which we can. In other news, yeah, in the so there we go. So how to set the server name directive globally? One answer.
Yeah, it's in a config file. Can we try pushing an example though?
Yeah, I did try pushing it, and it gave me an error. Gave me permissions error. Oh, come back to there. Yeah. I tried to push to docu test. If I added the wrong thing somehow, I'll bring it over. Okay, yeah, I've screwed up the name of it. Let me pull that back in here. I didn't put the docu at the beginning of it, so it failed to log in. Okay, so I need to remove docu test.
So if this works, it will tell us that it's probably something to do with our Docker configuration.
Yes, absolutely. As opposed to the
docu box.
Yeah. So then I should be able to push that there, and then so from that, like in order to have an additional endpoint to go to, then I have to go back in here and find the filter by name. Oh, what's it even called? HLP wiki. There we go. So I need to go into here and say that, yeah, the test here. If I edit, can I edit this one? Or I can delete it. I can edit it. Yeah. Come back. Edit it. Edit it. Or no. Ah, okay, there it is. Oh, now it's an A name. I think I'll just delete it. So we can add the record set for here test and make it a C name, and it still needs to link to, oh, where's it gone? Still needs to link to NHS. It still needs to link to that. Like so. But not with the HTTP stuff on it. Get out. There we go. Right. So that would link to there. And now we should end up with another little thing in the bottom of that. And then once this, so that's busy installing our little React thing on there. Once that's completed, we could set the domain name on it for test, and then see if test will redirect successfully there. While we're waiting for that, we could go back to, see, so this, how to set the, that's Windows. See, I think this is, I've seen this before in the Apache config. They have like server name, and that's a specific thing. Yeah, like these .conf files, see, like this is a fairly standard part of Apache's internal config, and stuff that I was editing a lot for the previous install of the, yeah, often these sort of things. But given that we're doing a Docker file deploy, presumably the Apache config that is in place, you know, we assume that is coming from like under the hood here, like none of this. I guess if we could just do a search for server name here, it's not mentioned. So I assume that if there's an Apache config file somewhere in the thing, it's been pulled in by this MediaWiki 130 thing as a dependency. Does that make sense? And so like, go on.
It should be in the server.
I couldn't quite hear what you said there, apart from the word server.
I think it should be in the server, the Apache.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be there. And we could like connect to the box and just edit it if we can find it, and we can get set up with an editor in the. Anyway, obviously, interestingly here. So this is what I was saying before. Like sometimes when these things deploy, they give us a little URL on the end, like they just give us a thing. So even
port.
Yeah, they give us a port. So like here, that goes to the React thing. And conceivably, even there we do HLP. Oh, I haven't set up the domain. But so here, if I did, so now if I did, oh, get remotes. Oh, it's called there. If I do sh docu at, and we do this, and we say domains, domains help, and then we say domains add, and this is React test, and then we said test.hlpwiki.agileventures.org, like that. It's interesting, isn't it? And then we do domains report. We can see here that we have, yeah, so we've got a develop HLP wiki, we've got the test HLP wiki. We could go to there.agileventures .org, and that goes to the same place. So, yeah.
So it's something with the Docker configuration.
It's something, yeah, with the Docker configuration. The interesting thing, if we look at, see, it's doing some things like it's as part of the Dockerfile deployment. It's
conf. It's copying conf, which is in the. If you go into the directory.
Yeah, I will. I can open this in code base locally if I go to this one here. So we've got. Well, that's interesting because there's no. So the Docker file. Oh, okay. Install some.
It's copying everything in that directory conf, which is just one file.
Right. Okay. So all right. So it's copying conf into /conf.
So you could edit it effectively through there.
So custom settings. But so this is custom settings PHP. This looks to me like the MediaWiki. I think it's their mechanism. So I don't think server name appears in here because this is controlling the MediaWiki configuration via PHP, not the Apache configuration. But I noticed that the Docker file also, see, it then copies over this bin docu entry point.sh. And so this is also PHP. And this is, oh, look, MediaWiki site server. That looks like something that might cause a problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, like something that should be edited.
Yeah, that we should kind of edit it and then, like, we should make that be the thing that we want it to be, the endpoint, right? That's probably worth a try. So develop like that, because maybe that gets passed on to the and then REST base URL. Well, that's a So and then here, but so that's interesting. It looks like it's interesting, isn't it? It looks like it's getting set up so that when Doku tries to install this, it will do some other stuff, doesn't it? Such as setting some DB stuff. And then I was just noticing one other thing here is after that it says entry point that, and then command Apache control -e info -d foreground, and so that seems like that's, I guess, a command to tell Doku when you're when you deploy this, you should start up Apache.
Yeah, that's what it means.
So we've made a little change there.
Like MediaWiki runs through Apache, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it has to run through Apache. It's certainly the one that we have set up does run through Apache.
What is it, like a module for Apache or something?
No, it's like, so Apache basically forwards like the requests onto the PHP scripts that are MediaWiki.
Right.
Is basically what it is, I think. Let's just do this. Yeah, so originally it was like that, and now it's like this. Git commit -am specify site server. There. So we'll push that up. I mean, I guess the interesting thing about this, what this fellow has done with this, is there's no mention of change. I mean, it's kind of Yeah, there's no mention of needing to change that. So then it's trying to deploy that. Ah, interesting there. We can see it's right that this happens step 1 to 6. So it's doing the Docker file. So the Docker file does this, does this, does this, copies over the entry point. Command. But so that's specific to Docker. Okay. And then it tells us deployed to here.
What's specific to Docker?
The Doku. It's the like presumably this Doku. Well, actually, no. I was thinking there. Interestingly, like I was thinking this Docker file is running the entry point, and so I guess that's an aspect of Docker containers that they can specify an entry point, and this one just happens to have been called Doku-entry point by the person who's developed this Docker file and associated bits and pieces. So we still end up there with we're sorry but something went wrong. And so interestingly now the logs don't appear to we may have removed that error message.
I mean,
go on.
There's other things that we need, right? Like database URL and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's all set up. And also Marion ran Marion ran this all locally on Doku locally, and it works for her. Locally on Doku.
Like
with the database. And the database URL is being set, and that's what this that's what this thing is doing. Is managing all of that. Sorry, go on.
Do we also have an admin user and an admin password?
I am not sure. But
because those are required environment variables.
You mean
in the documentation?
Oh, when starting the following vars are required. I don't. Mariam, did you set these locally when you got the system running? Did you set these?
No.
You didn't need to. Okay. So interesting. So that's an avenue. I was just going to look here actually at what.
And I don't see database URL in those deployment instructions either.
No, I think it sort of we've I think created one and linked one, and it's managing that. But
okay.
But I'm just trying to see if there's anything about this that tell us who's giving us the error message. But yeah, well, yeah. So if we go back to over here, and I'll just do it. If I bring up the config, like, so we have the config for this particular box, and so it has a database URL set on it as a result of creating like a MediaWiki database and setting that. I can see here in this thing that various of these things like the command, the entry point, ports, and so on have been set as per that thing. The Mariam, when you ran through this locally and then you did the same thing for this thing externally, it was the same rollout basically.
Yes, it's the same. I just changed the domain name to be my local host. That's the only difference.
To get it running locally, yeah. So yeah,
that's why I assumed that it's just a DNS.
Sure. Well, and it may turn out to be similar. I mean, so Michael, I think what it's doing here is, yeah, it's, and I've seen this in other places. It takes the database URL and then grab like these things. It's interesting though, because we've got the database URL and it's set up here supposedly to give us an error if we haven't got it. It's then supposed to export and set these variables. I'm not seeing them in the overall kind of docu config for the box, but I guess conceivably it's oh, what's the word? Conceivably it's being set internally in the box, and I won't see these set as the top level ones. I mean, that would make sense.
Wait, why would that make sense?
Well, because these things are all a function of the database URL. And so then if the database URL changes and then you redeploy, I don't know that you necessarily want these things hanging around.
Yeah,
I mean, go on.
Where is it getting the database URL from?
The database URL is one of the main, it's one of the main configs at the top level. And it's there because we ran the commands to create a MySQL database using the Docu MySQL plugin, and then link that instance to this app, and that's what creates the database URL with its MySQL : / all of the stuff that then, you know, can be mined for that information that this script is grabbing from it here. I'm just was gonna what is it? Enter. It's gonna enter MediaWiki. I can, in principle, like connect into the running instance there, and I can, yeah. So there, and in fact, right. So and there, I can see the environment variables. So I did this. What is it called? Docu. If I SSH into the Docu box, and then I can enter the individual running Docker container, and so there, that's interesting. There, the host name is set to some like weird random thing. Oh, it's telling me where the Apache config is. Just reading through all the different bits and pieces.
So, what's the host name?
The host name at the moment is something like 835.986 F8BF4A. Just ridiculous. But yeah, so certainly all of these. Well, are they in there? I mean, the things I'm seeing in here, I'm seeing like Docu MySQL MediaWiki port and so on. I'm not seeing these set up particularly. There's like a MediaWiki version. I'm not seeing the other MediaWiki things. It's interesting that it all ran for you locally, Mariam. What was that? I'm just gonna check the logs again. Yeah. So that Apache 2 message about the fully qualified domain name, you know, says set server name directive globally to suppress this message, does appear to have come up there now again. So this change here doesn't seem to have particularly helped with that. I've got to go now, but I don't know if Mariam and Michael, if you're free. I don't know, Mariam, would you like to show Michael the thing that you've got running locally?
No. Okay.
And I think you've both, Michael, you've got access to this NHS box, haven't you?
I don't think so.
No, right. I've got to. Mariam's got SSH access to it. Are you interested in having SSH?
Sure.
Docu. Now, what is it? It's like it's add keys or something, isn't it? Docu help. Docu. All right. So the first I've got to do is like get your SSH key, Michael. Yeah, I'll get your SSH key, and then I'll have to go. Ooh. Okay, go there. Your key. I must have it locally. But what occurs to me is Mariam, maybe you might be interested to run Michael through setting up Docker on his local machine and this thing on his, and then Michael's clever, like he can maybe have some insights into the difference between what's happening there and what's happening in the remote system.
Okay.
I am actually going to have to go soon, though, so
Okay.
Maybe another time to look at it.
We've got this Michael's. But did you want to? Have you got it to hand, Mariam? You just want to share your screen and show us the running thing? You posted a screenshot into the channel before, but
I was in Vagrant, so it's so just trying to
start it up. Yeah. Okay. So I'll give Michael this.
I can't do a video if you.
Oh yeah, no, I believe you totally. It was more just showing Michael that the step by step of it. That thing. Okay, so Michael, I've added you to that box.
Okay, so, at the Doku level or at
at the Doku level. So you anyway, I mean, I'll put these in here. But yeah, so if you, I don't know if you want to clone down this King Square Media Wiki Doku and then add the appropriate remote, and then you can do like apps list and stuff there and just check that you've got access. Go on, brain. I was gonna, what was I gonna do there? My brain's just died. Oh, I was going to give you the link to this RIP. I mean, it's certainly a great data point that Mariam had this running locally. I
just shared the link that I used to run it locally.
Oh right, yeah, the one that's which you might be interested to look at, Michael. I'm just config set. I guess I mean, when I look at the config for, oh good grief, so many. I can't get back to the. There it is. I guess you didn't do this step.
No.
But I only required for non-dev, and you didn't need it locally.
Yeah.
And then I guess these things you did these for your local system.
Yes.
And then you also did that for the remote one as well.
Yeah.
But I guess you did or you didn't do this one.
I used MySQL instead of MariaDB.
Right. Yeah, we had that already in place. Right. Yeah. Anyway, curiouser and curiouser. Well, yeah. Hopefully you've got access to that. I'm gonna have to nip off. Maybe I'll see you both in the NHS Wiki meeting tomorrow. Do let me know if you make any progress on this. All right. Bye for now. Thanks for your help.